Today we're going to be taking a look at the JJRC H6C. I've looked at quite a few JJRC products at this point, but this is definitely one step in a new direction. Not a brand new one or anything, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Here's what the controller will look like, but we'll take a look at that in a moment. This is basically kind of an alternative to the Hubsan X4 or the Syma X11, but obviously the camera versions of those. Looking at it from sort of the bottom up, you'll see this interesting looking manual. There's the front of it. Here's a little packet of included stuff. Looks like we've got 4 spare props in there, a micro SD card reader, a prop puller, and a USB charging cable, and I'm not sure what this little thing is, but I'm sure we'll find out here in just a moment. Here we have the controller. Looks to be sort of suited for pinch flyers, but I think it should work just fine for thumbstick flyers like myself. Your little LCD display up here at the top. And finally, kind of the key to the whole thing, here is the JJRC H6C. It does already have the battery installed. Go ahead and pull that out and we'll take a look at it. A little difficult to pull that out, but not too big of a deal. It is a 350 milliamp hour battery, standard white plug there that most of the others do come with. Comes with a large prop guard installed, but actually the prop guard installs on the bottom, which is not something that I've seen a lot of. And you should be able to just pop this off. Yeah, you just sort of pull on that and it pulls right out. So I'll probably try it the first time with that on and then take it off when it inevitably doesn't work terribly well. Here I see a micro SD card. You just sort of click to pull that out. And it says this one is a 2 gigabyte card. Probably can't see that because it is teeny tiny writing. I may end up swapping that one out, but I will give it a shot just to see how it works. There is your camera lens, which according to the packaging should be an HD camera. I'll be curious to see about that. It might just be 720p. And let's get the battery back in here. We'll hook it up and we'll take a look at how the LEDs look before pairing it up. All right, so from the underneath, you can see you've got red LEDs in the rear in the arms, blue LEDs in the front arms, 1 green LED underneath, which I'm assuming will have something to do with the camera. From the top, you've got blue eyes, and that seems to be it. Hopefully these will be pretty easy to see underneath, but just looking at it sort of on my hand with, you know, a little bit of a coverage there, you're not seeing a huge amount of light coming out of this. All right, it's not often I see a controller that turns on like this, but I've got the batteries in there, and you just push on this button to turn it on, and now hopefully we're paired. And just in case you're curious how it sounds, let me go ahead and hold this and turn it on. Sounds kind of like the Syma X11, but I think the X11 might be a little bit quieter just because it's gear driven and this is direct drive on the motors. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and burn this in through one battery. Basically what that means is I'm going to turn it on as low as possible and just let it sit for the entirety of the battery. And then I'm going to come back again and fly it, and I'll go through the flights and everything with you, and we'll review this thing. All right, so I'm outside for my first flight outdoors. I'm going to go ahead and give this as thorough a test as I can. I'm going to try out the camera. I'm going to try out flying it without the prop guards on. I've flown it around a couple of times indoors with the prop guards, and it just, I don't know, it was a little bit off with them, so I'm going to take it off and see if it works any better. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Starting out in low rate. So we are up, and let's give it a spin. Mid-rate, third rate, fourth rate. Does not seem to make any difference, but it has a ridiculous amount of pitch. Yeah, no difference in terms of the yaw rate though, so that's a little sad. Ooh, it flies nice. Look at that thing go, wow. That's like a racer with its pitch. I'm curious what kind of range this is going to have though. Almost hit the ground. That has a lot of pitch. And there's a flip, but it wasn't a pretty flip. Whoa, that was a jerky flip. That's better. Maybe it's worked out its issues, maybe not. And actually, let me put it back in low rate, turn off the camera and turn it back on. By the way, there's also a lights button. If you hit the left button, see all the lights except for the green one and the blue one's turned off. It should be in low rate now. Yeah, next to no pitch. And I've got the camera back on, hopefully. Going for more smooth motions. Try to keep it very nice and steady and stable. Do a little spin. Hands off, coming down a little. Yeah, that's nice and stable and steady. And pull back now. Hopefully the video looks halfway decent. Nice and stable. I mean, I tried out some video indoors. It's 720p, 30 frames a second, so it's not the best ever or anything. Alright. So, there's your video. Let's bring it in, spin it around, see if I can get some video of myself while we're at it. Hello there. Hi. Okay, so we'll stop the video there. And while we're up there, I'm going to go ahead and try the return to home feature. If I hit the right button here, it should return. That's not right. Come back, come back. I'm guessing my headless mode is set wrong. My bearing is set wrong. I'm going to just avoid that. It doesn't have a true headless mode. It has just return to home, which I'm not a fan of. But we are back in high rate. Look at that. Super high rate. Ooh. Again, I'm getting very good at almost taking myself out, but even though the yaw rate is not that high and not that impressive, very impressive in terms of speed and power. It lays flat out. I would have never expected this out of a camera quad. Which I know this is not intended to be 100%, you know, the best camera you've ever had, but, oh wow. I mean, look how flat that thing goes. It will just throw itself to the ground, pretty much. And if my tests inside are any indication, the battery life on this is going to be really, really nice. I mean, just I've only gone through, I think, 2 batteries at this point, and with this 350 milliamp hour battery that was included, I saw about 8 or 9 minutes of flight time. But that was at the lowest rate. That's when I was burning it in. So I would assume, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes, 6 minutes? There we go. That thing makes the same kind of sounds as the HMX 280. I mean, wow. I say wow an awful lot with the quads I've been flying lately because they have been impressive. Had a nasty crash there, but we're alright. By the way, I should mention, I've already had to change out 2 props. When I was flying around indoors with the prop guards on, I touched the wall and 2 of the props snapped in half. So I'm not really pleased with the design of the props. So I'm back out here later in the evening. I wanted to see how these lights look at night. So far they don't look half bad. Obviously it's not entirely night now, it's kind of dusk. But it is pretty dim out here, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Alright, we're out here. This is low rates. We're in the highest rate now. Let's see how it looks from distance. Well, the blue LEDs make it a little bit hard to judge distance and everything, because I have problems seeing blue LEDs, but they definitely make it easy to tell where the front is. That was almost my head I lost there. That's fun to see. Get the geese flying overhead with the quadcopter. They have a lot of pitch even in the 3rd rate. Now the sad thing's gonna be, watch what happens when I turn the lights off. You can still sort of see it. Those front blue LEDs stay on, so if you don't like the red lights, you can always turn that off. You can turn them back on. You still can't see the red from the front. Yeah, this is not a bad night flyer at all. Especially if you keep it close. But who's ever going to do that? Alrighty guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I've done several flights of this at this point, using different batteries and different configurations and everything, and I have to admit, I absolutely love this thing. It's very quickly becoming one of my favorite quadcopters. You know, at first, when I first flew it, I said that I wasn't really sure what market they were targeting with it, but I think what they're targeting is the generalist, the all-around market, you know, because you have a quadcopter that is just amazingly fast, that turns fast, that banks well, but you also have one that can be very docile when you put it back in first mode. Because right now I'm in first mode, it's not very fast. Let me go ahead and hit the record button and hope that I've got a card in there. You can take a look at some of that sunset that's going on right now. There you go. That should be sunset now. But we're sitting there nice and stable and docile. Of all the quadcopters I've flown that have cameras built in, this one is actually one of the better ones. It's 720p, so it's not going to be amazing high quality, but it's very stable. It's not filled with jello. There's a hummingbird up there. Sorry. That's very cool. I've got a hummingbird that's chasing quadcopter. But anyway, let's bring it back and I'll go ahead and see if the video was recording during that. So yeah, like I said, you've got a great all-around quadcopter, and it does so many different things, and it's available for a very reasonable price. So as far as what I recommend to a beginner right now, this might actually be it, because when you get started, you start in first rate, and you can just sort of very easily get used to it. You know, actually, this is why I have the Moontop MT9912 or MT9916, can't remember the number. I gave that to my parents because my dad and my mom wanted to learn how to fly quadcopters, and at low rates, just like this one, it's nice and slow and steady and gentle, and then when you get to the higher rates, it has a little bit more power, a little bit more punch. This one, though, just puts that to shame. The camera quality is better, the punch of it is much, much better. I mean, this thing is just a massive amount of fun. And the fact that with the included battery, you get about 5.5 to 6 minutes of flight time the way that I'm flying it. You know, and if you take it easier and fly gentle, you're going to get even more than that. I mean, just letting it sit on my floor, I got upwards of 10 minutes. But that's just sitting on the floor running at lowest RPMs. So that's sort of the absolute max you'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly wrap this up. This has been an excellent quad. Does some very nice flips, does some very nice video, does some very nice power and some excellent speed runs. So it's really just a good all-around, well-balanced quad. Cannot complain about it in the slightest. Haven't had any real issues with it, and actually the transmitter has made the JJ1000 a much better quad for me, because the JJ1000 out of the box had an auto flipping mode that made it kind of not so great. But with this transmitter, I can now fly the JJ1000 at even higher rates. So yeah, it is just excellent. Flips and funnels, camera, and all of the other fun stuff that you want out of a quad, this thing can sort of do it all. It's a little bit of an older one, but I definitely highly recommend it. I'll put the links to where you can find it down in the video description. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.